Good morning, I'm meteorologist Megan McClellan. We are breaking into programming right now because we do have a tornado warning that has been issued for parts of Cherokee County and parts of Adair County. You can really see here south of Tahlequah. I have our radar situated right now on velocity because you can kind of see this inflow coming in. But I'm going to step off camera and we're going to look a little bit closer at this as we are watching that this warning has been issued for parts of Cherokee and Adair County. This goes until 5:45 this morning, so almost another 30 minutes from where we are right now with this tornado warning. And let's go ahead and take a look at reflectivity real fast. So really watching right in this area south of Tahlequah, north of Keys, Park Hill. This is where we are watching right now. As this storm is moving through, excuse me, as we go through this, this is moving to the southeast at 40 miles per hour. So again, I'm going to go ahead and put a track on this warning as we go through. Okay, here we go. 40 miles per hour. So we're going to go ahead and move this pretty far. Let's see, 10 killer within the next 10 minutes. Rocky Mountain as we get a little bit closer. Stony Point getting closer to that 6 o'clock hour. I'm going to zoom this out and we're going to try that again to see just how far this is going to go. Okay, about 40 miles an hour. So this is still moving at a pretty good speed. Welling here within the next 5 minutes. 10 killer again about 5:30. Rocky Mountain at 5:37. England about 5:45. And that's as we start to get a little bit closer to the border. Again, watching this tornado warning for parts of Cherokee and Adair County has been issued until 5:45 this morning. And Chief Meteorologist Michael Sager is in with me, and he's really analyzing a lot of this radar as it comes in. So let's take another look at this velocity. And you can see right in here, if you look really closely, you can see my mouse going. And that's where we're watching as this is moving through. You can see it's a little bit harder to see at this location, but right here south of Tahlequah, zooming in, Park Hill, Green Country Estates, north of Carter's Landing at this point, watching for this to move through. And let's take another look. Yeah, still looking that we're watching. Oh, we're watching these bowing segments of these storms as they're moving through. What's happening is we get these really strong winds to come in, and as they start to lead and push ahead of that main line of storms, we start to see these little notches develop. And let me change radars over to Fort Smith and see what, again, yeah, right in here, south of Tahlequah is where we're looking. Let's look at that velocity. Yep. Okay, so we see green is towards the radar, red. So here we go. Oh, hold on. We have updated this as a confirmed tornado warning from the National Weather Service. Let me look at the latest information from them in our chat that we have. Okay. Yes, we have gone confirmed tornado warning with this. And we're going to take a look at our correlation coefficient. Yeah, seeing maybe a little bit of something here. But this, with where this location is, this is something we're going to have to watch closely. And if we can, Chief Meteorologist Michael Sager is in the 2 News Weather Center, and we're really tracking this together. Michael, what's the latest that you're seeing?
Yeah, we've been watching this circulation really start to wrap up here. And again, it's right here in Cherokee County now with a confirmed tornado. Let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit tighter here. We're going to take you right here into the area here near Carter's Landing. You can see right here is that circulation on the reflectivity. You can see the little curl right there. But as we go over to velocity data, it'll actually move this over to switch this over to the Fort Smith radar. That'll give us a little better view here. We can see again there is the circulation right here. So I'll draw this on here so you can see that. And notice the let me see, switch this back over to Fort Smith velocity. There we go. That's the one I wanted. So here are green inbounds here. wrapping around this way. And again, there's the circulation here. So there are outbounds right here. So right there is that tight circulation. It's coming right over here, kind of the north end here of 10 Killer Lake. And then right here is Carter's Landing. Continue to push off here to the south and to the east. And again, very concerned here. So tornado precautions here between Carter's Landing over to around Trail Holt. You want to take your tornado precautions with this. And again, this eventually over here to around Rocky Mountain. As we head over to around Blanche and Lyons, you definitely want to be taking your tornado precautions right now because this is moving in your direction as this continues to push off here to the south and to the east. Notice as we switch over to our rotation detector, that is right in the same area. So it's depicting that we do have rotation in this area here from Tail Holt back down to around Carter's Landing. So that same area that we were just talking about. Switching it over to correlation coefficient. Not seeing much here as far as getting any debris lofted up in the air, but you look at the reflectivity here and you look at the velocity data, certainly indications here that we've got a rotating storm here with a confirmed tornado with it, continuing to track here to the east and to the south and to the east. So again, moving here. Got about ready to cross over here from Cherokee County into Adair County. So Trail Holt, Rocky Mountain, Stony Point, Blanche, as we head over to around Stillwell, Zion, Cherry Tree. Take those tornado precautions right now. This is tracking in your direction here. And you definitely want to be taking those tornado precautions as this continues to push off to the east and maybe just slightly south of east with this. So again, we really watch this line start to kind of fill in and ramp up here as it worked its way here into parts of Cherokee County. I'll zoom out just a little bit more here. And again, this line, we'll have to watch perhaps some other areas within this line where we could have some embedded circulation. So right there is this area that's kind of surging forward. That's your RFD that's coming around right here. So the circulation is going to be right here, about ready to cross over the county line. And I just want to switch this over back to velocity real quick. That's the one area that we are watching as we go farther south down the line. Looks like everything else farther south down the line, we're looking good. Again, within this line, we could still get wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. So we have to be mindful of that as well as this continues to push here off to the east. But again, looking here now, that circulation is getting ready to cross over from Cherokee County into Adair County. Let's zoom in just a little bit closer here. And again, so those of you right now, Tail Holt to Rocky Mountain, need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. This is going to come right across the county line here from Cherokee County into Adair County. It's very close to doing so right now. And again, we've had a confirmed tornado with this, so you need to be taking those tornado precautions as we speak here. So as we pan farther here to the east, and I mentioned this earlier, Blanche to Stillwell to Zion, tornado precautions need to be taken right now. Cherry Tree, Lyons, take those tornado precautions right now. This is going to continue to move into your direction. So zooming in, let's get a little bit more here, see if we can get some of the roads to pop up here to see what we're looking at. So again, looking here, let's see if we can get any more to possibly maybe show up. So right there is South 600 Road here. And again, as we cross over the county line here, again, looks like a fairly again, area here, we're not seeing a lot of roads, but right around Rocky Mountain and then farther here to the north. Again, looking at areas here as you head up here, right on the county line. So there's that circulation. It's right here. So there it is. I'm going to draw it back on here so you can see this. So here's our green inbounds in this direction. And of course, we have our outbounds right here. So we've got a potential here and confirmed, not just potential, but a confirmed tornado here coming right across here, the Cherokee County line into Adair County. Right here is Rocky Mountain. So Rocky Mountain, you need to be taking those tornado precautions right now. This is coming right in your direction here. It's not far away right now. And that is going to continue to push here off to the east. So this is going to come right to you here, Blanche to Zion. If you're in Stillwell, I'd go ahead and take those tornado precautions. Marietta, go ahead and do so close enough that you need to be taking those tornado precautions. And also here from Lyons to around Cherry Tree, good idea to take those tornado precautions. And then farther down here, let's continue to go farther down here. Here's Salem. Again, if you live in Salem, you're currently not under a tornado warning with this, but you certainly would definitely want to be prepared here and start preparing for a potential tornado because right now we have that circulation just out here to your west. And again, this is going to continue to move to the east. So there's that circulation coming right across now the county line from Cherokee County into Adair County. I'm going to switch this back over to reflectivity real quick, and we'll try to zoom this out a little bit more here. And again, there's our tornado warning. There's the circulation right here. It's tracking to the east, maybe just slightly south of east, but it's going to come very close here to Stillwell. I do want to zoom out just a bit more here and kind of take a look at the rest of the line. Just make sure everything else is behaving within this line. And so far, we're looking good down here near Eufaula. I do want to take a peek here. Let's see if we got anything right in this area here north of Stigler. Just make sure we're looking good here velocity data-wise. It looks like it could be trying to get a little something going there here south of Gore, but we'll keep an eye on that as well. It doesn't look like it's anything as significant as what we've got going on farther to the north, so that's certainly some good news. Here's Carlisle here, and again, there's that area. I'm kind of watching there.
That area is under a severe thunderstorm warning, at least the southern portion of where you just were, until 6:15, and then that big thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm warning is until 5:45. Mostly for these strong winds as they're coming through.
Yeah, so that's, again, anywhere there's a new tornado warning issue that will now extend here into parts of Arkansas. And if you have the speed on that new tornado warning, Megan,
waiting.
Speed.
There it goes. Okay, finally popped in. New speed is moving east at 55 miles per hour.
Okay.
And that new warning goes until 6:15 this morning.
Sounds good. So there we go. So 55 miles per hour. That's going to get across Adair County pretty quick. So let's go ahead and see if I have room to draw a quick storm track on here with this. I may have not enough room for 55 miles per hour. Nope, I'm not going to have it. So I'm going to have to zoom out just a bit here, and then I'll do this storm track and draw that on here because that's going to race across Adair County quick. So this is going to come right into around the Stillwell area. So we just need to be cautious with this. Tornado precautions right now in Stillwell. And I may actually, instead of just doing a triangle track, I may do more kind of a broad area here and just track this right down the warning here at about 55 miles per hour. So again, this is not wasting time here at about 55. It looks like I'm going to have to, unfortunately, try this one more time, just not giving myself enough room. And you got faster storms, it's a lot harder to get these on here correctly. So let me try this one more time. And again, we'll take it right from here, just kind of take that entire area as that does track off to the east at about 55 miles per hour. That should be enough right there. And again, looking here back toward portions here of Adair County. Again, Blanche 533, Stony Point 533, Cherry Tree 534, Marietta 535, Zion 535, England 535, Stillwell about 536. So again, this thing's racing here. Off to the east, and we've got Fairfield at about 538. So again, potential here. New tornado warning is not a confirmed tornado, but potential here for a tornado to continue to work here to the east. It's moving at about 55 miles per hour here. And again, anywhere within this area, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. And again, the idea is you want to put as many rooms between, or many walls, I should say, between you and the outside as possible. That just adds extra barriers. So that's why you would want to do that. And then, of course, lowest floor possible. And if you have a helmet you can put on a helmet to protect your head. It could be anything from a baseball helmet to a football helmet to a motorcycle helmet. And also make sure you've got some good shoes or a good pair of boots on to protect your feet just in case you were in an area that was impacted and has damage. Could be broken glass, nails, things like that. Just want to make sure you've got protective feet once you would happen to get out after there may be damage. So again, that's just a good idea as you take shelter to help protect yourself. So again, here's our circulation right here. We're going to go in a little bit tighter now. And again, that continues to race eastward. This is going to come right across Adair County very quickly because it's moving at 55 miles per hour. Let's go in a little tighter here. And it's just now to the west here of Stillwell. So there's our circulation right here. I'm going to draw that on here for you. It's right here near Rocky Mountain. So again, mention it in Rocky Mountain, tornado precautions. And then also here farther to the east here, we've got Blanche. We've got Fairfield, Stillwell, Salem, Cherry Tree. Go ahead and take those tornado precautions. The general track with this is probably going to be to the east, maybe slightly south of east. So eventually here, crossing over the state line to around Evansville, Arkansas, we'll have to watch this closely as this continues to track on through. So let's go a little bit tighter here into see if we get some of these roads here. Here is Highway 100 right here. So it's going to come right down basically Highway 100. Right here is Bunch Road. So we're looking at the intersection here, Bunch Road and Highway 100. That's about where this circulation's about ready to pass through. And again, it's tough to know exactly precisely where that exact tornado would be in here, but there's our circulation right here. There's kind of the whole area that we're watching, and probably somewhere within that is where the tornado would be. So it's tough to pinpoint precisely right down where the tornado is, but we know about where it would be here with that circulation. Again, that's going to come very close here to Highway 100 and Bunch Road, that intersection, and it's going to continue to track here to the east. Right here is Blanche. We've got Zion right here. Again, tornado precautions need to be taken here. And then right here is Stillwell. And so even in Stillwell, likely need to take those tornado precautions. So here's that circulation continuing to work its way eastward. I'm going to go ahead and click that off. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these velocity data here that's popping up here. Again, oops, click the wrong thing there. And so let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. Again, the potential here, again, even some of the winds here around the circulation, just the wind itself, we're pushing 70 to 80 miles per hour here. That might not be at ground level, but again, even some of the winds around the circulation where the potential tornado would be, could be quite strong, and that is not uncommon to see that. So let's go ahead here and again look here off farther to the east, because there's the circulation right here. And so we've got Blanche and Zion and Stillwell need to be taking those tornado precautions right now. Cherry Tree, probably a good idea to go ahead and take those tornado precautions as this is tracking into your vicinity as well. So again, really concerned here. Again, earlier confirmed tornado. The new tornado warning is not a confirmed tornado, but we still have strong rotation that is definitely showing up here on radar. Zooming out just again, there's our tornado warning right there. I'm going to switch this back over to reflectivity, kind of get an idea here. There's our line of storms here lined up from northwest Arkansas all the way back into parts of Hughes County. And as we zoom back in, again, there's our tornado warning. And again, around that way, as Megan was pointing out, we do have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings as well. So we'll go in and zoom just a little bit closer here. You can see there's our notch. I mean, that is, you see that notch. So our inflow is getting pulled in right there. So that's the air that's kind of flowing into the storm. This is the air that's coming around the potential tornado here. So our circulation's right here. As we switch this over to velocity data, you'll see right where that lines up. Looking at the storm relative data, again, there is kind of a better idea of what we're looking at here as far as our red outbounds and our green inbounds here. So that circulation is right in here. And switch this back over to rotation detector. And there it is. It lines up right there. So Blanche and Stillwell and Zion need to be taking those tornado precautions as we speak. So if you are in Stillwell right now, this circulation is tracking very close to you. Blanche, same. Zion also as well. Don't take a chance with this. Go ahead and put yourself into, again, an interior room away from any outside walls and windows. Of course, if you've got a storm shelter, that's the best option with this. But certainly need to be taking your precautions with this as it continues to push here off to the east. I'm going to switch this back over. Let's take a look here at correlation coefficient, see if we have anything that pops in here. It doesn't look like it right now. That's certainly some good news. I'm not seeing much of a CC drop in here that would indicate that we have any debris being lofted. But that being said, we still have some very strong winds here within this circulation. And as I draw this on here, again, there's our green here, our green inbounds and our red outbounds. So the circulation is right here near Blanche, Zion, and Stillwell. Even up, I'm going to say Marietta. We'll go ahead and include you in there, and Fairfield as well. Go ahead and include you in there with this as well, because that circulation, it is getting very close here. And potential that we have a tornado with this as this continues to move off to the east. So right now, Stillwell and Zion and Blanche, tornado precautions. Let's go farther here to the east and get a look here. As you look here, Highway 100, it runs over here to the Arkansas state line. Again, you need to be taking those tornado precautions. Salem here, you need to be taking those tornado precautions right now. So again, let's zoom down here a little bit closer here. Again, there's State Highway 100 that runs here to the east. So if you live anywhere here from Stillwell all the way along State Highway 100 here to the state line. You need to be taking those tornado precautions. Farther here to the south around Salem, we've got Bell Road and Bethel Road. Again, need to be taking those tornado precautions. The circulation's tracking very close to you. And right now that circulation is coming right near Stillwell. So let me do a quick update here. So there is Stillwell, Zion, and Blanche. So there's our inbounds here, right through here. And there are our red outbounds right through here. So again, that's our circulation right here. That is the concern that we have with this storm as it continues to track its way to the east. So we've got, again, west Locust Street. There's First Street here. Again, we're looking at Stillwell with that circulation moving in at right now. So again, tornado precautions right now in Stillwell. And farther to the north, it looks like the circulation is just south of you right now in Marietta. So that's certainly some good news. But again, tough to know exactly if there is a tornado with us. It's tough to know exactly precisely where it would be. We've got the general area here of circulation, but the tornado could somewhere be in that zone. So you just have to, if you're near that circulation, you just can't take the chance. You want to make sure you're taking shelter as this does move off to the east. And again, this is going to continue to come right through the Stillwell area, Zion area, and it's going to continue to track east here right along Highway 100. And again, even down around Salem, I'd be taking those tornado precautions. As we get over toward the state line, we're looking at Evansville, Arkansas here, and also here right around Tolu in Arkansas. Need to be taking those tornado precautions. And so again, for tornado precautions, interior room, lowest floor possible. The idea is to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible as this continues to move off to the east. And again, it's racing east. 55 miles per hour. It's going to be on top of you really quick. And again, put a helmet on, anything to protect your head, and make sure you've got some good shoes and some good boots on as well. And Megan, we've unfortunately seen area circulation here within this line of storms form, and looks like we've got, again, a dangerous storm here tracking through parts of Adair County.
We do, and we have even seen that they have extended that severe thunderstorm warning. They've made a very large warning box available for really that whole section of the storm line that is moving through. And that goes until 6:30 this morning. And it is possible we could see up to an inch in diameter hail, which is about the size of a quarter. And we could see winds up to 70 miles an hour. And that's not just in the area that we see this tornado warning. It is really this entire box. So if you can see where my mouse is, this is really this whole area. We're looking all the way from like the north side of Fort Smith, all the way back into parts of Vian, south of Gore, all the way up Westville, Stillwell. You're included in this as well. And that's on top of the fact that we do have this tornado warning for Stillwell as well. So just keep this in mind, that even areas that may not actively be under this tornado warning, we are still looking at these winds and even some of the hail possible with all of these storms still pose a threat. So like Michael said, try not to be by windows. I know sometimes it's not possible, but try to put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. Have a helmet ready, especially as we see these pockets start to surge, and that's where we start to get this rotation. Have a helmet ready, have shoes ready. Make sure that you are just staying aware, because we're going to be watching as all of this starts to move through, that we have these pockets surge possible.
Yeah, exactly. And again, anywhere within this line, we've got to be careful that we could see some circulations develop. And right now, this is the only one that is of the biggest concern, but we're still kind of keeping an eye back here. Again, we're not out of the woods here. Pittsburgh County, Haskell County, Latimer County either, even though right now this is our lone tornado warning here to the north. And again, numerous severe thunderstorm warnings with this as well, with potential for damaging wind gusts, even if you're not in that tornado threat. So let's zoom in back a little closer here. It looks like the circulation continues to move here off to the east. And so let me go ahead and clear that circulation there. We're going to go back to the velocity data here. And again, let's go storm relative, and then we'll switch this back over. So about the same here. So our circulation here now continues to move basically right down the state highway here, 100. So let's draw this on here real quick. And again, so now you're kind of getting on the back edge of the circulation here around Stillwell, and it continues to move here right basically from Stillwell and Salem and Zion, continues to push here off to the east. So it's going to come right down here. This is State Highway 100. So again, if you live anywhere here east of Stillwell, along State Highway 100, it's not there yet, and you need to be taking your tornado precautions. I would go ahead, if you're in Salem, take those tornado precautions as well. Let's go in a little tighter here because I want to pop up some more roads and give you an idea of what we're looking at. We've got State Highway 51 here. Again, anywhere along State Highway 51, take those tornado precautions right now. And again, there, between there and State Highway 100, definitely need to be taking those tornado precautions. And if you're even south here of State Highway 100 down to Salem, need to be taking those tornado precautions. If you have anybody that you know, say over toward Evansville, Arkansas, over to around Tolu, definitely give them a heads up here. That circulation is going to come right to the state line here. And of course, let's go back. There's that new update here with the circulation. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more. And again, let me take that. I'm going to draw this back on here. You can pretty much see what I've been drawing here. Again, greens are areas that are flowing toward the radar site. We're using the Fort Smith radar here. So that's why the greens are going to be flowing toward that Fort Smith radar. The reds, that's what's going away from the radar. So our circulation is right in here. And again, that is where we are monitoring the potential here for a tornado. We've watched this line really organize as it continues to push here off to the east. And so this is the area of concern here right along State Highway 100. And again, if you live, I would just kind of give a little buffer here because we don't know exactly where. If there's a tornado in here, you don't know exactly where that's going to be. We just know we've got strong rotation here. I would certainly be very careful with this as it does continue to push here off to the east. So anywhere here from Salem all the way up here to Fairfield, all the way up to Highway 51, and here's Highway 100, I would be taking those tornado precautions, again, all the way to Evansville, Arkansas, and Tolu. You need to be in an interior room right now with as many walls between you and the outside as possible. That just adds extra barriers with any flying debris that could be outside. And also a tighter room if you can. If you've got a closet to go into, a bathroom to go into, just structure-wise, it just adds a little more strength to the structure if it's a tighter and smaller room. So that's why you want to do that. But again, preferably an interior room, not something that's an outside wall. So again, you may not have much of an option there, but again, if you have an interior room, that is the better of the options. So again, lowest floor possible here. Protect your head, put a helmet on, and make sure you've got a good pair of shoes on as well, just in case you would happen to have any debris around after the fact. You're not going to be walking around in broken glass, things like that. All right, so we've got, here's Highway 100. Again, this is continuing to push here off to the east, and again, it's racing at about 55 miles per hour. So our latest update now has us getting much closer now to the state line. So we're already now east of Stillwell and right along here, Highway 100, racing here to the east. Toward the Arkansas state line. Let me zoom out just a little bit more here, kind of give an idea here. It's kind of a broad area of circulation, but I'm going to draw this back on here. And again, there's our circulation right here. There's our greens. Here's our reds. And again, kind of a broad area. And even if you're not impacted by the tornado, you're going to have some very strong winds in here that could certainly be a problem. So again, right now that circulation continues to race east toward the state line, Megan, and still watching these storms as they push off to the south and east.
That's right, Michael. And we have several severe thunderstorm warnings, and I wrote them down to make sure that we did not forget anyone. We have 3 different severe thunderstorm warnings that are active right now. And we also have that tornado warning. So I'm going to start down south, and actually parts of Pittsburgh County, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for you, and that goes until 6:30. And it's for this segment that's going to be moving through. So I'm going to put this into motion over the last 30 minutes so we can kind of see these storms. You can see them move in generally east from west to east. There's a little bit of a southward component with each of the individual pieces of these storms, but the overall movement is generally to the east. Again, that warning goes until 6:30, and that is for winds of 60 miles an hour possible. And as I'm talking, we've actually had another severe thunderstorm warning pop in here. And let's see, that is for Sequoia, LaFleur, and Haskell County. Again, winds up to 60 miles an hour possible. That also goes until 6:30. And then we have our big warning up here that includes a tornado warning. That includes parts of Arkansas, goes until 6:30. And then our storm back over here, we do have that until 6:15. So please just make sure you're staying weather aware. Don't be outside. We do have a good amount of lightning with all of this moving through. And then, of course, we're still tracking that tornado warning. Michael?
Yeah, that circulation now with the tornado warning pretty much on the state line here, right near Evansville and Tulsa, Arkansas. So again, we're right on the state line here, continues to push its way here to the east. And so there is our circulation. And as soon as this crosses over into Arkansas and the tornado threat ends for our forecast area in Oklahoma, we'll kind of go back through and just check all those other storms and kind of do some analysis, but eventually we're going to go back to regular programming as long as we don't get another tornado warning to pop in. So right there's our circulation. Again, it's coming right over here. The state line, here's Highway 100. Again, this has been basically tracking right down Highway 100. Here's Evansville, and there is Tulsa, Arkansas, as that circulation now continues to push off to the east, and it's about ready to cross over into Arkansas. So the tornado threat's just about over with here in Adair County, but still ongoing. Again, anywhere here along near the state line here in Highway 100, you want to be in your tornado safe spot right now. And again, somewhere in this circulation, it's tough to pinpoint exactly where that tornado might be. So we've kind of got the broad circulation here drawn on, but anywhere in here could be that circulation. But even if you're not impacted by the potential tornado that's in this, you're still going to likely get some very strong winds. As Megan was pointing out, we still have severe thunderstorm warning with this same area here with those very strong wind gusts possible. So you'll probably get some strong winds even if you don't get impacted by the tornado that would be possible here as well. So again, this is going to continue to race to the east. It's about ready to cross over the state line. And so again, this has been a problem for us, is that circulation developed right over parts of Cherokee County and just has continued to push off to the east. These storms really struggled as they came through the Tulsa metro, really had a hard time getting going, but they seem to have ramped up as they've worked farther to the south and eastern portions of our forecast area. And there's the latest update here that circulation now has indeed crossed over the state line here. There's Tulsa, and there is Evansville, Arkansas. So I'll update here where we've got our outbounds here. So there's our red outbounds going this way, and here's our green inbounds. So kind of the back edge of that circulation now coming right over here, the state line right near Highway 100, Tulsa and Evansville, Arkansas. So again, that's going to continue to push off to the east here into Arkansas. So we will right now go ahead and do some analysis elsewhere within this line. And if everything's still looking good and we just have severe thunderstorm warnings, then we'll go back to regular programming. But if we happen to get another tornado warning to form, we will certainly be back on the air wall to wall. There you can see there's that circulation right there. Shows up very well. So let's zoom out here and let's go back here. Let's start south first here with this line moving into parts of Pittsburgh County. And again, let's zoom in here and just check some of these areas here. I'm going to check the velocity data with this. And again, just kind of scan and do some analysis here. Make sure we don't have any areas that might be a bit of a concern for us as this continues to push here off to the east. And there we go. Here we go. Here's McAllister here. And again, looking at this, I'm not seeing anything that really stands out right now. Potential, though, within this line. Again, we've got that severe thunderstorm that is in effect here. Severe thunderstorm warning, potential for damaging wind gusts as this does move off to the east. So looking at the velocity data, might be an area here, kind of this little notch here between Arpler and Scipio. So just kind of keeping an eye on that area. And then looking farther here to the north up to around Canadian Fork and Carlton Landing and Eufaula, heavy rain and storms moving through here. Checking some of the velocity data, there are some areas here that might be worth watching. You've kind of got a little bit of a hook showing up there, but it doesn't quite line up here all the way with the velocity data, but that might be an area to watch. And then here's where we've got that severe thunderstorm warning here into parts of Sequoia County and also parts of Haskell County and LaFleur County. So let's check the velocities here within this part of the line. And again, there might be a notch or two trying to get going in here, but nothing like we've got farther to the north where that tornado warning now is crossing over into parts of Arkansas. So again, Numerous severe thunderstorm warnings that we've got in effect here with this line still pushing off to the east. We've had the one tornado warning, the one possibly confirmed tornado here that tracked right into southern portions of Cherokee County. That circulation, though, let's get one more look at that. It continues to cross over the state line. There it is right there. You can see how this is surging forward. So our circulation is right in here now between Evansville and Floss, Arkansas. So that continues to push here off to the east. Again, that circulation is now east of the state line. So again, the threat here with the tornado, potential tornado in Adair County has come to an end. Even though right now we've still got the flashing red back here over parts of Adair County, you're no longer under that threat of a tornado. But you still have some strong winds back behind this, so you still could be dealing with some potential damaging wind gusts as this line of storms continues to push off to the east. But the tornado threat has indeed crossed over the state line here and into western portions of Arkansas. So again, nice to see that get out of our forecast area. Unfortunate, though, for the folks here into eastern portions of Arkansas. So once again, we'll zoom out here again just real quick. There's a look at where we've got our line of storms. Again, Tulsa, you're in the all clear. The threat is over with. This line is going to continue to push off to the east, and we'll continue to monitor it as it does so. Again, still officially, we've got the flashing red here in Adair County, but the tornado threat is over in Adair County because the circulation is right here. There's the circulation. It's moved off into northwest Arkansas. So as that circulation, again, has cleared the area, we will go ahead back into regular programming right now, but we'll continue with cut-ins as we go through the morning hours. And in case we happen to get oh, there we go. Latimer, Pittsburgh County tornado warning. So there we go. So we'll stay right on. So there it is. It just popped in.
Till 6:45.
6:45. That's that area that we were just looking at earlier here over Pittsburgh County that kind of caught my attention. So let's jump back down in here into Pittsburgh County, where we do have a new tornado warning that is now in effect. And it is there it is, that circulation right here. It's not very prominent. Let me switch it over to a storm relative. It may show up a little bit better here. Again, not as impressive as the one that we had in parts of Cherokee County, but you can still see there's the circulation there. So do we have the speed on that, Megan?
At 60 miles per hour. East at 60.
East at 60. So again, these are not wasting any time. That's actually kind of dangerous because they will be up on you real quick. You won't even have a lot of time to prep for this. So again, east at 65 or 60, you said 60, right?
60.
60 miles per hour. So again, let me give myself enough room because that is going to be a long track to do 60 miles per hour. So hopefully I can give myself enough room here to draw this on. But there's our circulation here. And I'm going to take this here. This is going to be very near McAllister. This is going to probably come very close to Wilburton. And eventually it's going to race over here into LaFleur County if it were to maintain itself. So new tornado warning now in effect here. This is the Pittsburgh County circulation as well as tracking here into Latimer County. So North McAllister 602, Bug Tussle 606, Richville at about 607, Carbon 609, Adamson at about 614, Blocker about 614, Drum about 618, Featherston about 618, and Gowen at about 619. So again, that's going to continue to track here off to the east. I'm going to go a little bit tighter now into this. So again, I do also want to point out before I go in a little tighter, again, anybody downstream here that might not be in a tornado warning right now, just be aware that we do have circulation here out to your west that is going to race eastward at about 60 miles per hour. So we'll see if the circulation holds together. But if it does, it might be here a little sooner for those of you to the east than what you might typically deal with when you've got tornado warnings in the area. Again, 60 miles per hour. Sometimes we deal with storms that are moving 20 to 40 miles per hour. So you give a little bit more time between them moving in. So again, at 60 mile an hour pace, that's going to come in quick. So let's zoom in a little tighter here now. Back to where that circulation is, and it's right now very close to McAllister. It's going to be tracking here through the north side of McAllister the way it's looking right now. There's our green inbounds, and again, that's the area of circulation that we're looking at right here. If I switch this over to rotation data, not a whole lot showing up here, but again, in the storm relative velocity and in the velocity data, There you can see that. I may just use the velocity data that shows up a little bit better here. It's just easier for my eyes to see. And again, there's the circulation right here. So I'll draw it on here so you know where we're talking. There's our green inbounds kind of right through here. And then there usually would be red, but because this has got such a forward speed, again, relative to the speed that this is moving forward, it's still going to be green. But again, to the storm relative, it actually would be kind of moving away from the radar site. But there's our circulation here. And again, that is going to track here, racing east here, coming right into McAllister. These strong inbounds right now into McAllister. So the wind's likely picking up in McAllister. And again, that circulation here right near McAllister and to the north of McAllister, that is the area of concern right now. Let me draw that back on here. So again, McAllister, you need to be taking your tornado precautions right now. That circulation pretty much right now is moving in toward McAllister, and this is going to continue to track off to the east here. So those of you here, let me go in just a little bit tighter. Let me go ahead and select that off. Let's go in a little tighter here. So we've got North McAllister. McAllister, you need to be taking those tornado precautions. We've got Krebs as we look here toward Carbon. And again, even farther here, let's take a look at Richville. Again, tornado precautions need to be taken here as that circulation is right now near McAllister and North McAllister, and it's going to continue to track its way here to the east. So there is Richville. There's Carbon. We've got Adamson also downstream here into Pittsburgh County that you need to be taking those tornado precautions as this continues to track off to the east. So there is our area of concern here. Right over McAllister at the moment is where that circulation is. So again, to take those tornado precautions, if you've got a storm shelter, that's the best place to be. If you've got that, that is, again, an ideal place to be right now. If you don't, you want to be in an interior room on the lowest floor possible. Again, you want to be on the lowest floor possible, interior room with as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And if you have something to get underneath to protect yourself, go ahead and do that. Also put on a helmet to do that as well, to protect your head from any sort of debris that may impact you. And then also make sure you've got a good pair of shoes or boots to protect your feet, just in case you would happen to have any damage and you have to get out afterwards. You need to make sure that your feet are protected, not walking on any nails, broken glass, things like that. So again, there's our circulation here. I'm going to redraw this so you got an idea of where we're looking here. And so there's Krebs. You can see the strong inbounds right now coming right into Krebs, and there's our outbounds back here. And so our circulation continues to track to the east here, coming right across north of McAllister, and coming toward Krebs and Richville. So again, need to be in your tornado safe spot right here, Krebs to around Richville. And then again, as this continues to track off to the east here, that will also work here to around Carbon. So we need to go ahead and take those tornado precautions here. Richville, Carbon, Adamson, and let's go farther here to the east. We've got Drum and Chile and Bowers here as we cross over here into Latimer County. Now, you're not in a tornado warning right now, but Center Point, to around Wilburton and also to around Panola need to be monitoring this as this comes racing eastward, because that circulation, it looks like it's pretty much moving due east here, at least as of right now. And so if that heading continues, that could eventually work into your area. So right here is the area of concern right now. Krebs, McAllister, and North McAllister. There's the circulation right here. I'm going to switch this over to the rotation detector. Not really seeing much pop up on there with rotation detector. There's a look at the storm relative velocity and looking at reflectivity. You can kind of see right here, there's a little kink right here in the reflectivity. So you can actually see that here as I draw. You can actually literally see the circulation. You can see how this kind of goes like this right there. You can see that right there. You can see how that's rotating right there. So that's the area of rotation that we have been concerned with. And it looks like now that has pushed a little bit farther here to the east. Let's see what it looks like with the velocity data. And again, there we go, kind of that same area here as it continues to push off to the east. So our greens going in right here, and there's our outbounds right here. So that circulation's right there. And again, as we pop on the reflectivity, that will pretty much line up with where we've got that reflectivity signature is where we could see that showing up a bit of a hook here. It's not as well defined as you might see with a supercell, but we do have a little bit of a hook here with that rotation tracking here near Krebs and up to the north and to the east now McAllister toward Richville and Carbon. And it has just been a busy stretch here now. The storms, as they came through Tulsa, were not very strong. They had weakened as they approached the metro, but we've seen some redevelopment of these storms and just kind of rejuvenation of these storms. And they have been quite strong and now starting to produce a rotation and tornado warnings in southeast Oklahoma. Megan?
Right, Michael, and we look really across the state, not just in our neck of the woods. There have been a lot of power outages. I was just looking, 11,000 people across the entire state out of power from OG&E. 1,000 of those are actually near Haskell, and PSO is reporting about 1,000 people without power as well. But it's not just those tornado warnings that we've been tracking. It's a lot of these severe thunderstorms because they are packing a punch, not just with wind, but also with hail. And as we take a look really across this entire eastern Oklahoma, you can see we have a lot of these storms in place. And you can see all the way from the state line where we were tracking that first tornado warning all the way down to Stigler, all the way to McAllister. And there's just a lot of storms going on. So we do have Pittsburgh County in a severe thunderstorm warning until 6:30. And then we have parts of Haskell and LaFleur County up here towards the top of your screen under a severe thunderstorm warning until 6:30 as well. So definitely watching this entire area from south of Stillwell down through Salisaw, Stigler, over towards Quinton, McAllister, Savannah, Kiowa, all the way down through southern portions of Pittsburgh County. And again, these storms are generally moving off to the east, but they are still moving very quickly. And as Michael says, when we have these storms moving through quickly, we have to watch for those areas where we have surges in the line. And that's where we have to watch for any of those rotation points to come in. And so that is something to keep in mind. Is just because you may not be in a tornado warning right now, we could see one pop up, kind of like we did with this one down in Pittsburgh County. We were getting ready to go off the air, go back to programming, and this came back, and this one popped in. But we're still watching this entire line for areas that we could see some surges. And I'm really going to be watching down through here from Stigler down to Quinton and even back towards McAllister as this line moves through. Just because it's in that area that's favorable, we could see some of those surges and we could see some circulation start to develop. Michael?
Yeah, exactly, Megan. And again, you get here in the southeastern parts of the state, and the atmosphere is favorable for some of these storms to take advantage of what is there in the atmosphere to produce some rotation. So as Megan was pointing out, we do have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings here with this line as it continues to push off to the east. Right here is our tornado warning. So let's go back in here a little closer here into Pittsburgh County as we've got that circulation racing off to the east at about 60 miles per hour. That is something that you cannot outrun. That is whipping to the east very quickly. So let's switch this back over here to velocity data. Let's see what it looks like here. Reflectivity, let's see if I can get that to pop in. There we go. There's velocity data still showing that area of rotation here. And let me actually switch over to reflectivity here. I'm kind of curious what we got there. We may have another area here a little farther to the east that might get might be worth watching here as well. So let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit closer. That rotation is still there. It's not as prominent as what we had with the earlier circulation over parts of Cherokee County and Adair County, but we still have a well-organized circulation. This is right near Carbon at the moment. And again, this has basically been tracking due east at 60 miles per hour. So again, a lot of times we're tracking tornado warnings. They are not moving that fast. Now, it does happen. It certainly does happen. And again, but when you're moving that fast, it's going to be on you a lot faster than you think. So you may not have as much time as you might think you have. So Adamson here, Drum to Chile to Bowers, you definitely want to take those tornado precautions as this circulation is going to be racing eastward here at about 60 miles per hour. Right now, you're just outside of the official tornado warning box here from Center Point to Wilburton, to around Ludi, over to Panola, and over to around Red Oak. But you probably want to go ahead and start prepping as this does continue to push off to the east, because again, it's moving at 60 miles per hour. It may come a little quicker than what you are anticipating. So there's the circulation right here near Carbon, and there's Adamson. That's where you want to be taking those tornado precautions as we speak, as that circulation continues to race here to the east at 60 miles per hour. What I may do here is I'm going to zoom out just a bit. We'll do another storm track with this. I'm going to have to zoom out pretty far because a 60-mile-per-hour storm track is going to be a very long track that I'm going to have to stretch across the area. So let's go ahead, and hopefully I've got enough room here now to go ahead and do that. We'll take it right here from that circulation. Let's track this off to the east at about 60 miles per hour. There we go. So again, some of these communities that pop up here may be just outside of that warning, but just gives you an idea about when this may arrive if this continues to hold together. So Adamson, again, pretty much moving in here in the next few minutes. You need to be taking those tornado precautions. We've been talking about that. Drum, Chile, Bowers at about 620. We're looking Patterson 621. Degnan at about 623. Robbers Cave State Park 624. Center Point about 625. Wilburton 626. Damon at about 627. So again, that's if that continues at that 60-mile-per-hour pace, that's about how much time you may have for this to move on in. So again, it is really moving quickly here off to the east, and that circulation is still back here to the east of McAllister. We have not had anything confirmed with this, so that's certainly some good news, but there's still very prominent rotation with this. And if it hasn't produced a tornado, it could certainly produce one at any time. So that's why we got to be careful with this as it continues to push here off to the east. Let's go ahead and we'll remove that track again. Here's the times. Go ahead and take those in right here. There are the times, but go ahead and take those tornado precautions here as you got this circulation here tracking off to the east. We do have additional severe thunderstorm warnings with this same line as well. So again, there you can see there's the notch right there. That shows up very well right where that circulation is. So again, see that right there? That's what we had with this storm going over parts of Cherokee County and Adair County. You can see there's your inflow notch right here. The tornado would be right there in far eastern portions here of Pittsburgh County, about to cross over here into Latimer County. Let's go ahead. I'm going to do a quick storm track. So again, you might see some communities that are also in the tornado warning show up here, but I also want to do a storm track with this just because of the potential for the damaging winds with this line of storms moving through. And I may have to actually back this up to give it a little bit more room here. So let me drop that, see if I can get that to drop. And there we go. Let me go ahead and remove that, and let me back this up just a little bit here. Give myself a little bit more room. Again, 60-mile-an-hour speed. Just have to really allow a little extra room to draw these tracks on here. So again, track that off at about 60 miles per hour. And again, some of you are going to see your communities pop in here twice. You're also in the tornado warning, but what I just did here is for a severe thunderstorm warning and potential for damaging wind gusts. So Drum at about 614, Featherston at about 614, Carlton Landing about 615, Higgins about 616, Bowers 617, Chile 617, Patterson 619, Russellville 619, and Degnan at about 621. And again, that's the severe thunderstorm warning. That includes a much larger area. There is a tornado warning within that same area for this circulation right here that's tracking to the east. And basically, that circulation is going to come right up here along Highway 270, and it may go right down to 70 if it continues to hold together. So we'll watch that here as that crosses over from Pittsburgh County into Latimer County. So let me take that track off of there. I do want to pan back to the north just to take a look at some of these other storms that we've got moving through. Again, the tornado warning storm that we had earlier for Cherokee and Adair County, that has pushed off to the east into northwest Arkansas. We have severe thunderstorm warnings for this line here into parts of Sequoia County, also here into LaFleur County, and then we just tracked the severe thunderstorm warning here for parts of Latimer County, Haskell County, and also into parts of Pittsburgh County as that line continues to push off to the east, and also here into LaFleur County. So again, there's our dangerous area here of circulation. Let's go back into that real quick, and that is about ready to cross over the county line here from Pittsburgh County and into parts of Latimer County, right near Adamson. There you can see with the reflectivity, that area that we're looking at here, there it is. So let me switch this over to the velocity data, and it should line up. There you go. So it lines up right there. Reflectivity shows it very well, and the velocity data shows it very well as well. So let's go ahead and draw that circulation back on there so you can actually see that visually. Might help you at home see that a little better, because I look at it, I know exactly what I'm looking at, but now you have a little better idea of where this might be. So again, that is right near Adamson at the moment. Again, we switch this back over to the reflectivity. You can see right where that curly Q is here in the reflectivity. That's where we've got the circulation. So right there it is, and we'll zoom in a little tighter here now. Let's take you here into Adamson. We've got Drum here. Again, you need to be taking those tornado precautions around Drum to Chile over to around Bowers. So again, this is continuing to race off to the east at 60 miles per hour. Again, it is moving fast. It will be on you very quick. So a lot of times when we're tracking tornado warnings, there are a lot of times in that 30 to 40, maybe 45 mile per hour range on average. 60 miles per hour, that will come up a lot quicker. You will not have as much time to prep and get to shelter with a 60 mile per hour moving area of circulation and potential tornado here. So Adamson, right now, you need to be in those tornado safe spots. Also here to around Drum, to around Bowers and in Chile. And again, this is going to basically almost come right down 270. So 270 comes up here and then tracks off to the east here from Wilburton, Looney over to around Panola, and there is Center Point as well. So that's where we're really watching this area. Looks like that circulation has moved a little farther here to the east. So let me take that off of there real quick and switch it over to storm relative velocity, see if we got anything there that shows up pretty well. So again, it's kind of a broad area here that we're looking at. So again, within that area, it's tough to pinpoint exactly where a tornado might be. So we've got a general area here with our broad rotation moving through, but somewhere in here, there could be a tornado potential. So that's why if you're anywhere close to that, you need to be in your tornado safe spot. Megan?
Thanks, Michael, and thanks for reminding us that we need to be in our tornado safe spot. And just as a quick reminder, that is putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. A closet, a bathroom, a hallway. If you have a storm shelter, those are great places. Also make sure that you are putting on your helmet, put on shoes, and also put those on the kids. I know sometimes we're so focused on getting the kids into safety, we're focused on getting ourselves into safety that we may not think about that. But have the kids grab the shoes, have the kids grab a helmet, because that is going to be important. Now, we also have those severe thunderstorm warnings in place as well, and we have had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued until 7 o'clock this morning for winds up to 60 miles an hour for LaFleur, Latimer, Pittsburgh, and Haskell County. And that's here kind of towards the bottom of your screen, and it's this whole line of storms as we're moving through. But I want to stay kind of wide here for a second, because we do also have a tornado watch in place until 7 o'clock this morning. And if you imagine I-44 and back to the southeast into these areas that we're tracking these severe storms, that's where we have those tornado watches. So definitely make sure that you are staying aware, you know what's possible. The National Weather Service has been clearing areas that the threat has passed. So like Tulsa was under that watch earlier this morning and has since been cleared. And we're watching this continue. But really, again, even if you are not under a tornado warning at this time, and Michael has done a great job telling us exactly where this is and where it's headed, just make sure that you are not hanging out by the window. You're not hanging out outside. I know it's Oklahoma. I know we like to go outside and look at the storms. I admit I'm guilty of that myself, but we have to make sure that we are staying safe and that we are putting as many walls between us and the outside as possible as these storms are moving through, because 60-mile-an-hour winds, that can cause a lot of damage. 70-mile-an-hour winds can cause a lot of damage as well. Michael?
Yeah, and just really keeping a close eye on other areas within this storm that could have potential circulation. So we're kind of watching that as well. But let's get back down here to where we do have our current tornado warning. And again, we'll switch this back over to velocity data. It's a little difficult to see, but it's right in this area here is where that is. And as we switch it over here to the reflectivity, again, kind of watching this area, and it's not as pronounced as it was earlier, but we still have a general broad area of circulation right here. Now tracking over into Latimer County, where we officially have that tornado warning out until 6:45 in the morning. But I imagine we may see that drop before then, just because we're seeing the circulation now getting very close to the end of where that warning box is. So let me go ahead. I'm going to take that off of there real quick, and let's go back in here where this circulation is continuing to move on through. And there's another update that actually shows it a little bit better from what we were looking at earlier. So let's draw that back on here. We're going to go in back a little tighter here. So there's our outbounds here, and there's our inbounds right there. And let's go in a little tighter here now. And so we've been talking about this area here from Drum to Chile to Bowers. You need to be taking those tornado precautions right now. Over to around Center Point and Wilburton, we're kind of watching this circulation track a little farther here to the east. And again, it's kind of tracking here across southern portions here of our tornado warning. So again, basically right now starting to come right down Highway 270 at the moment, and still tracking here off to the east. I do want to pan a little farther to the north, just kind of keeping an eye on some other areas. You can see some very high velocity shading here. So even if you're not in the tornado warning, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for this. You're likely getting some very strong winds here from Featherston to around Russellville to Canadian. So potential for some damaging wind gusts here as well. But this is the area where we've got that circulation here tracking right over, coming right over 270. So again, it's tough to pinpoint where that tornado might be in this, but it's more than likely somewhere in this general area, and that will continue to track here to the east. So watching this closely here, if we see this tornado warning extended or not, as we look here towards Center Point, Wilburton, Panola, over to around Red Oak. We've got to watch this close here. We could potentially see this extended if the circulation can maintain itself as it moves off to the east. But I would go ahead and be taking those tornado precautions here for those of you in these areas here along 270, just in case, because again, this is moving very quickly at about 60 miles per hour. So it is not wasting any time as it continues to push off to the east. So there we go. Again, anywhere in here, there's the latest update. Anywhere here along 270 in Latimer County, just need to be taking those tornado precautions. I am going to zoom out just a little bit. We're going to switch this back over to the reflectivity data here, and we'll zoom out just a little bit. Let me take that drawing off there as well. And just want to take a look at some other parts here within this line to make sure everything else within this line is behaving as far as potential circulation that may try to develop. You can kind of see here, there's a little notch there. That's kind of about the same area that we were looking about with the circulation. But there is also that severe thunderstorm warning. Megan was talking about that extends along with this storm. Kind of embedded in that, we do have the circulation and that tornado warning. So again, just watching this close as it does race off to the east. Let's pan a little farther here to the south. Again, you can see the storms extend all the way back down here into parts of Atoka County, into Pushmataha County, but they certainly get stronger as we go north of there. Lots of heavy rain here around Stigler, likely some gusty winds as well. We've got areas here from Salisaw to Keota, back over to northern portions now of LaFleur County, that we do have severe thunderstorm warnings here with this, as that is pushing off to the east. But our main concern right now for our forecast area is this area here, southern portions here of Haskell County, as far as the severe thunderstorm warning is concerned. And then we still have that tornado warning ongoing here that does still include Pittsburgh County, but the circulation has pushed off to the east of Pittsburgh County. There's the new tornado warning right now. Just wondering if we were going to see that. So there it is. There's the new tornado warning that does include areas here right along Highway 270. So let's go back into this here. 6:45, and is it still about 60 miles per hour?
I'm still waiting for all of that information to come down right now. As soon as I have it, I'll let you know.
Sounds good, and you can just chime in whenever you get it. Let's go ahead and switch this back over to the velocity data here. Let's go to regular velocity because I can see that just a little bit better. Let's go ahead and draw where that circulation is again. So there's our circulation right here, and there's our outbounds right there. So there's our area of circulation coming right to about Wilburton and Damon. It is now beginning to track actually to the east of Bowers, and it's going to
And it is moving east at 60.
Still east at 60. So again, this is not wasting time moving off to the east. It's going to race eastward here, kind of working its way right along 270 the way it's looking right now. So Red Oak and Hughes and even LaFleur need to be in your tornado safe spots right now. Bingle, you need to be in your tornado safe spots. So I would say anywhere here along 270 and then farther to the south of 270 here need to be in your tornado safe spot. So as we go back here to the south, you're good as we go farther south here. Yanish over to around Tallahena, at least as of right now, it looks like this circulation may stay to your north. But areas here along 270, not as looking as promising here. So let's go in a little bit tighter. There's our circulation right there. Shows up very well here. And again, so Wilburton to around Damon to Center Point to around Ludi need to be taking those tornado precautions right now. Let me zoom that back out just a little bit. Got a little too close there. And again, just kind of zoom that out a little bit more. And so again, that's going to come right down Highway 270. And so tornado precautions, as Megan was pointing out earlier, you want as many walls between you and the outside as possible. This just adds a little extra barrier for any flying debris that might be outside. And so again, you put more walls in there, it's a little bit more protection. And also make sure you've got a helmet that you can put on as well. If you've got that, that just adds a little extra protection. If you don't, that's fine as well. But if you've got one, go ahead and put one on. Make sure you've got good shoes to put on just in case you would happen to have an impact with a potential tornado and there would be debris afterwards, broken glass, things like that. You don't want to be walking around in socks and bare feet. You want to make sure you have a good pair of shoes or even boots, better yet. So again, that certainly would help protect your feet. But also, again, this is going to be moving very quickly here off to the east at about 60 miles per hour. So as we were talking about earlier, a lot of times when we're tracking these storms, they're moving 30, maybe 35, 40 miles per hour. So that's still at a pretty good pace. But if it's moving 60 miles per hour, it may come at you a little faster than what you're typically used to when we're tracking these kinds of storms across these areas. So again,
and
just
Michael,
be aware.
The good news is Pittsburgh County has been cleared from this tornado warning. So that is the good news. Right now we're looking at Latimer and LaFleur counties are the ones that are in these tornado warnings. Yeah, that is certainly some good news right there. The circulation right here, again, that is now cleared Pittsburgh County. So great news there. And there is Damon, there is Wilburton right there. You need to be taking those tornado precautions. We're going to go in a little tighter here and let's see if we can get some of the roads up here. Oops, I accidentally clicked it off. So let's put that back on there. And again, let's just go right into where this circulation is. So again, 270 runs right through here. So that's where we are concerned here, right along 270, Wilburton and Ludi and Damon down here. Again, even if you're south of where the circulation is, we've got potential for damaging wind gusts. Even if you're north of the circulation, we've got potential for damaging wind gusts because this entire area is under severe thunderstorm warning as well. So we do have to be concerned about that as well. We're kind of, where I'm tracking here is more on the potential tornado with this, but we do have potential for damaging wind gusts up and down this line as it continues to move on through. So let's go ahead and pan here a little farther to the east. Again, right here is 270. So we got Ludi over to around Panola. And as we head over to around Red Oak, again, you need to be taking those tornado precautions here over to around Denman and over to around Hughes and LaFleur. Should probably be taking those tornado precautions. Now, the tornado warning is extended all the way here to just outside of Fanshawe. So again, Fanshawe right now not included in that tornado warning, but if you're here, Fanshawe from Caston over to around Summerfield, probably need to be prepared to take shelter here as that circulation is off to your west, and it's going to continue to track here off to the east. And so let's zoom out a little bit to give me some perspective here now as we've got a new update here with the radar scan. I just want to make sure I'm looking at this correctly here as this continues to race off to the east. Storm relative velocity. So again, our circulation is kind of broad here, but it's still kind of tucked back in this area here. It looks like kind of tucked in this area still right around Wilburton and around the Ludi area. So again, that is the area of concern. If we switch this over to reflectivity, probably still getting there. You can still kind of see there's our inflow notch kind of coming back in here. And then there's the circulation that wraps around here. So it's kind of a broad area of circulation, but somewhere in there
is where we could have a potential tornado, and that is going to continue to work its way right along 270. So again, that is the area of concern right here, 270. But even if you're south of 270 as you head down to around Bingle, probably still should go ahead and take those tornado precautions at this time, as it'll still be very close to the circulation as it continues to track off to the east. And what I'll do here, we haven't done a storm track in a while, so let me switch this back over to the velocity data, and I'm going to draw that circulation on there. So again, there's our outbounds coming in this direction, and there's our green inbounds coming in this direction. So we kind of got the broad area circulation that is right in there. And as I zoom out a little bit more, I'm going to have to zoom out quite a bit to get that storm track on there. We'll track that off to the east at about the 60 miles per hour. So again, this is going to race eastward at about 60 miles per hour. So hopefully I have given myself some room to do that here. Again, race that off to the east at about 60 miles per hour. And so again, we've got Ludi pretty much tracking in right now. We talked about Panola, need to be in that tornado safe spot, 632. Red Oak at about 640. Denman, 643. Lodi at about 643. LaFleur, 645. Cedar at about 646, and Hughes at about 646 as well. So again, some of these areas might be getting just beyond where the actual official tornado warning is in effect. So we'll keep an eye on this as we watch this potential circulation track farther east into LaFleur County. But again, those of you back here right now into Latimer County, that's where the concern is right now, where that circulation is still moving on through. So let's go ahead. I'm going to switch this back over to reflectivity, and you can kind of see the entire area of thunderstorms moving through. There's our circulation back here. But within this line, you can see the yellow box we've got here. We have potential for damaging wind gusts. So we've kind of got a tornado warning embedded within a severe thunderstorm warning. So again, even if you're not under the tornado warning, you still have potential for damaging wind gusts with this as it does move off to the east. And again, racing eastward at close to 60 miles per hour. So again, you still have that damaging wind potential. And of course, with all the heavy rain that we're seeing, along with the heavy rain that we've had recently, flooding is going to be a concern as well. So if you live in a flood-prone area, just be mindful as more heavy rain moves in, you could have some flooding concerns. Let's go back in tight again, get a look here. Probably going to get another update here on the velocity data here in just a second as these scans continue to come in, and we'll just kind of analyze right along with it here. And again, it's kind of tough to see, but that circulation is still kind of right in this general area here. Right around Wilburton, coming right down to Highway 270. If I look at storm relative velocity, again, it's kind of tough to see here, but it's somewhat in this area, still tracking right down Highway 270. So again, it's tough to see, but it is somewhat in this area, and it's looking kind of almost washed out a bit, but it's still there. So we just have to watch this closely. So again, there's our outbounds kind of tracking in this direction. You can see the more pronounced inbounds right here. So that circulation is kind of broad here. It's not a very tight circulation. We can really pinpoint it. It is kind of somewhat broad here with the circulation, but it basically still continues to track right down Highway 270. So need to watch this closely. I'm going to pan a little farther here to the south, kind of watching an area here farther to the south. What's the reflectivity look like here? Let me take that severe thunderstorm watch off. Let me look at the reflectivity here, and back to velocity. Kind of watching this area. If it'll let me click it, there we go. Kind of watching this area back here, just kind of an area that I just noticed here as I was looking at the velocity data. We'll keep an eye on that a little south of where the current circulation is that we are tracking. Let's get that severe thunderstorm warning off of there. So again, there's this area that we've got here where, again, it's kind of not as pronounced as it was earlier looking at the velocity data, but we've still got an area of circulation here that continues to track basically right down 270. So it looks like now that circulation is to the east of you in Wilburton, but right near Panola. And again, continues to track here. So Red Oak at the moment, you definitely need to be taking those tornado precautions. Lodi over to around Hughes and LaFleur. Take those tornado precautions right now. And even though you're south, you're still in the tornado warning here in Bingle. And just because you're in that tornado warning, I would go ahead and just play it safe, even though it looks like right now the main circulation may pass to your north. However, that being said, still kind of watching this area. Let me switch back over to the reflectivity here. I'm kind of watching this area a little farther to the south, right there. That's kind of interesting to me right there, that we might perhaps be getting another circulation to develop here. We go back to velocity data. Everything seems to somewhat line up. We're not really getting a notch or anything within that line, but that might just be an area just to kind of watch here. So Bingle and Compton, just be cautious with that. You're already under tornado warning for the circulation to your north. But again, just be cautious with that a little farther south down that line. We might be trying to get something else to develop a little farther to the south. Let's go back here to the north here. We'll switch this back over to the velocity data. And we still kind of have this broad area of rotation tracking right down Highway 270. Let me take those current arrows off because it has moved just a little bit more. And you can see the surge here. There's our inbounds right here. And we still have our outbounds right here. And they kind of curve around like that. So it's a very broad area of circulation here, but potential that we have a tornado somewhere in this broad area of circulation as it continues to track right down 270. So again, we've mentioned it many times here, Red Oak to around Lodi, to around Cedar, to around LaFleur. Go ahead and take those tornado precautions as this circulation continues to track to the east. If you live anywhere along 270 here, between Panola and Fanshawe, you need to be taking those tornado precautions right now. Again, this thing's moving about 60 miles per hour, so it is not going to waste any time as it continues to move off to the east. So we just have to watch this closely as it continues to track its way eastward. We pan farther back here to the south, so kind of have that one area here that's kind of just kind of perking my interest just a little bit here. And kind of watching this right there. That's that notch right here. This is the area that I'm kind of keeping an eye on. There is a little bit of a notch there, and you can see the velocity data right there. Might have something trying to get going here, kind of on the southern end of where we have this tornado warning. So we'll just kind of watch that closely to see if that happens to do anything else. Hopefully it doesn't, but that is one area that we'll have to watch as that continues to move off to the north. Let's pan back here to the north. Let's take a look at the reflectivity data. I'm going to take those arrows off of there because we're going to continue to get new data as this comes in. But again, the reflectivity, I look at this and I mean, it doesn't look that impressive right now. But that being said, you switch this over to velocity, and we still have a hint here, some broad rotation, and certainly areas that are worth watching as this continues to come right down here, Highway 270. So we'll draw this on here again as each radar scan updates. I do want to draw it on there because it's tough to see what we're looking at. You see a lot of green here, but if you look close, you can see there's our outbounds, and there's our inbounds right here. So again, we still have that circulation still working here right near Red Oak. And then it's going to continue to work its way to the east here to around Hughes. Again, no confirmation of a tornado with this. We just have circulation potential for a tornado. So that can happen very quick. So we just have to be extra cautious with this as it does move off to the east. And again, because the rotation here is fairly broad, it's really tough to pinpoint exactly where that tornado might be within that circulation. So you just have to be cautious across the board. And even if you're not impacted by a tornado, you're still likely going to be impacted with potential for some very strong wind gusts as this moves through as well. Again, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning surrounding the entire tornado warning. So again, you'll still probably get some pretty strong wind gusts, 60 to 70 miles per hour with this, even if you don't have a tornado where you are. So that is certainly something that you'll be mindful of as this continues to track off to the east. So there's circulation still kind of right there. We just got an update, so let me switch this back to reflectivity data. And again, kind of the reflectivity, I look at this and boy, it's really tough to decipher here what we're looking at. It just looks, it doesn't look very organized if you're just looking at the reflectivity. Still, yeah, a lot of rain and a lot of lightning, but that circulation though is still there. We switch this back over to storm relative velocity, and we still have circulation here right around the Red Oak area. So again, that has continued to track here to the east. We've been talking about it's basically coming right down 270. So we still have an area of embedded circulation here that's going to continue to track its way eastward here. So those of you around Hughes need to be taking those tornado precautions with this. We'll zoom in a little bit tighter here. And again, we've got Denman, Hughes, Norris, over to around Lodi and over to around Cedar. Again, need to be taking those tornado precautions. Also, Fanshawe, you're just outside of the tornado warning at the moment, but still need to be ready here and possibly at least start thinking about that, and then probably even go ahead and do so because this is moving so quickly to the east at about 60 miles per hour. I want to pan farther to the south here, just kind of keep an eye with what we've got with this area farther to the south. Let me go back to the reflectivity data here and see if that'll pop in here for me. And there we go. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's zoom out just a little bit more here just to kind of give an idea of what we're looking at. Let's go back to velocity data. And again, there's kind of that area here. We also have a little more pronounced area of some inbounds there. Not a whole lot looking there at reflectivity. But again, there could be a few other very weak circulations kind of embedded within this line as it does track off to the east. So just kind of monitoring that as it does move eastward. But here's our area that we have been tracking here. Again, looking at Red Oak, and again, back down to around Bingle. And then again, there are some other areas here. Again, there are some other weak circulations here that are certainly worth monitoring within this same tornado warning. So we've got one here. We've got the one up here on 270. We've got another one down here farther to the south. So there's kind of three areas that could be somewhat interesting. As I switch this over to rotation tracker, again, we're not seeing a whole lot showing up here. There's this one here that we've been tracking. That is now tracking up near Red Oak. And there's this one down here on the southern end of that tornado warning that we were looking at as well. So there's a little hint of some rotation here as well as everything tends to race off to the east. Looking at correlation coefficient, not seeing anything here of any concern. That's certainly some good news. So that is what we like to see. And just clicking over here to hail detector, again, these storms producing most likely just some damaging wind gusts, maybe some small hail, but hail detector not depicting anything that's very large. So that's good news there as well. We'll switch this back to velocity data. And again, the velocity data itself, again, it looks like what I would say messy. And when I say messy, it doesn't look extremely organized. We've got a lot of blotches on here. We don't have an organized supercell or anything like that. We don't have an organized bow echo moving through. But within some of this, we are getting some areas of circulation. So that's what we're kind of monitoring here. And that's why we still have a tornado warning here for parts of Latimer County and a little bit here of LaFleur County. Megan?
Michael, we've been watching these storms move through, and I actually just saw that there has been a wind gust report of 62 miles an hour at the Wilburton Mesonet. So we are still seeing that these storms are packing a punch even outside of that tornado warning. And we do have areas that are under a severe thunderstorm warning until 7 o'clock, which if you think about it, it's just 20 minutes away. And we do have that tornado watch in place until 7 o'clock as well. So we are going to be keeping an eye on that. And as you know, we're looking at things, talking with the National Weather Service. I have not seen any damage reports come in yet. So that is some good news with all of this. If you do see damage, please report that to us, report that to your local officials. That way the Weather Service knows as well, so that we can continue to improve some of our forecasts and our understanding of radar and what we're seeing really all across the country, not just here in Oklahoma. But we do have these severe thunderstorm warnings until 7 o'clock for winds up to 60 miles an hour. And it is possible in some of these areas that we could see embedded places where we have those stronger winds come in. So I know we may sound like a broken record, but please make sure that you are not spending time outside. It's getting close to 6:45. The sun is starting to come up. You may be wanting to go outside and enjoy your cup of coffee in the rain. Maybe it's not pouring down rain where you are, but I'm still seeing a lot of lightning. Even in this view right here, over 3,000 total strikes of lightning. So it's still not the best time to be outside if you're in this region. If you're back north of I-44, you're pretty much in the clear from a lot of this strong stuff. We may still see some light rain, but this is the main area that we are continuing to watch as we go through the morning.
Yeah, watching areas here, southeastern parts of our forecast area, as Megan was pointing out. And again, looking here at this line that continues to push off to the east, so we still have that tornado warning in effect. By the way, just got word that the tornado warning right now is not planned to be extended to the east, as some of the circulations are definitely showing some signs of weakening, and that's what we were talking about earlier. I'll switch this back over to the velocity data, though, so we're going to go back in here a little tighter. And again, we still have that tornado warning in effect here for about another couple of minutes here. And a few areas of some weak circulation continue to move on through. In fact, kind of looking here to the north, I mean, it's just not looking anything like it was earlier here. So, but still wanted to make sure that we were taking our tornado precautions here over Highway 270, and then farther to the south, we've kind of had another area that we were watching here right near the Bengal and Compton area, and that's pushing here off now into LaFleur County. And then another area here to the north, kind of a weak area of circulation kind of within that same tornado warning that is tracking here to near LaFleur, and that'll eventually track over to around Summerfield. So the tornado warning that is in effect here for Latimer County and parts of LaFleur County, I believe that goes out until 6:45. So we will likely see that tornado warning dropped once we get to 6:45. And right now it's not anticipated to be extended farther to the east into LaFleur County. So that is certainly some good news for those of you here in LaFleur County, from Summerfield to around Braidwood and Worcester and Glendale, and back over here to Heavener as well, and up to around Smacker and Howe, and over to around Petros. And again, so areas here along Highway 59 should, at least as of right now, we don't anticipate that tornado warning to be extended farther to the east. But we'll still have to watch closely. That doesn't mean that we couldn't see additional circulations here, perhaps try to tighten up within this line as it does track its way to the east. So just monitoring that as it continues to push off to the east. So now that tornado warning has been dropped, and it's been, again, we still have the severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for these same areas. Let me zoom out just a bit here. We're going to get you the kind of full perspective here. The tail end of this line right now, working through far southeastern portions of our forecast area, and the severe threat really starting to wind on down. That is great news. Again, so the severe thunderstorm warning continues here. So far south and eastern portions here of Haskell County and far eastern portions here of Latimer County, still potential for some damaging wind gusts with this. The tornado threat has certainly come down. That's why we no longer have a tornado warning that is in effect. So great news there. And let's go ahead. I'll just do a quick overview here. We're going to go back to programming here very shortly now that that tornado threat has come to an end in our area. At least for the time being. We still have some light rain back here into the Tulsa metro. Might occasionally still hear a few rumbles of thunder as well, but nothing severe. That rain does get heavier, though, as you get back here to around Stigler. And again, that main line here still working across southeastern portions of the area. And of course, we've had a lot of rain around, not just today or this morning, but through the entire spring. So flooding still is going to be a concern as this continues to move on through. But not the severe threat, or at least the tornado threat, has come to an end. We're going to go back to programming, and we'll have more updates as we go through the morning.